Hello teachers, this is Annie Palmer, District Literacy Coach and Curriculum Facilitator. The purpose of this screencast is to share a few ideas of how to meet the needs of advanced learners through our Tier 1 instruction, which is our workshop model. There are 3 key points that we're going to discuss in the screencast. The first is knowing your standard and looking up the next 2 additional standards. 2, know your reader and writer. And 3, balance curriculum with individual goals. I'm going to go into a little detail on each one. So the first one was knowing your standards. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say that you are a 4th grade teacher, and this is your standard on point of view. Compare and contrast the point of view from which stories are narrated. Explain whether the narrator or speaker of a story is for first or third person. So there's a good chance that your advanced readers will be able to either already have this mastered or be able to master it quickly. So that's when you need to either beforehand or at some point that makes sense to you, look up the next 2 additional standards. Now sometimes you're going to be able to push them not just to the next grade level standards, but to the next, to the grade level 2 grades above where they are. So you'll notice in 4th grade, for point of view, they just have to compare and contrast 2 different points of view, and then say whether it's in first or third person. In 5th grade, they take it a little bit deeper, and they want the student to be able to describe how a narrator's or speaker's point of view influences events. So because of the point of view that the character has, certain events unfold themselves in the plot of the story, again, due to that character's point of view. That is a little bit different than simply comparing and contrasting 2 different points of view. And then in 6th grade, students are asked to explain how the author develops the point of view. So not just what is the point of view, but how does the author intentionally develop it through different scenes, different dialogue, different events in the story. And so that gives you an idea of how knowing your grade level standards and then the next 2 will allow you to meet the needs of advanced learners because you know how to take that standard deeper. Okay, second, know your readers and writers. I cannot stress the importance of conferring with your kids during that launch unit. Every single one of your kids you should be conferring with during your launch unit. That's part of the purpose of the launch unit, is to get to know your kids. You'll have the NWEA test. Some of you will have Rigby reading. Some of you will have the fluency assessment. All of those assessments will inform what direction you take your readers and writers. However, you cannot discount the importance of sitting down next to your kids and having a conversation about the books that they're reading. That also needs to inform the instructional decisions that you make. Okay, so when you sit down to confer during that launch unit, you're not looking to teach anything yet. You're just looking to assess where they are in different aspects. So 1, look for book choice. Are they choosing appropriately leveled books? Are they choosing books that interest them? Do they even know what interests them? Get to know their hobbies, their interests, so that you can guide their decision-making process if you need to when selecting books. Also, use Saravallo's hierarchy to guide your questioning. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. So in the Reading Strategies book, and then also in the Writing Strategies book, it has a hierarchy of reading skills, reading goal areas, I guess would be the better way to say it. And this hierarchy is not like black and white. You won't necessarily always follow this hierarchy, but it does give you an idea of where to start. So starting at the top, Obviously, in the primary grades, we need to have make sure that they have that emergent reading down. And then in all grades, really K through 12, we need to check on their engagement. You can have some higher level kids that aren't engaged in text. And so their challenge may not be that they can't comprehend the text, as that they don't have an interest in reading, or they don't know how to find books that get them excited to read. And so they might have a goal area of engagement. So you want to ask questions around that, such as, what do you like to read? How much do you read? Do you read at home? What makes reading easy for you or hard for you, etc. Then obviously decoding and fluency is important. And then she splits it up into literature and informational writing or reading. And then conversations and writing about reading at the bottom. So as you have that research conference with your kids, kind of use this as a guide. Depending on your grade level, let's say that you're fourth grade. Fourth grade, you're going to start with some engagement questions. Make sure their decoding or print work is fine, which it likely will be if it's your advanced learners. Their fluency may or may not be okay. They might read too fast. And then go into aspects of literature, aspects of informational. Likely they'll be okay with plot and setting and character. A big area for our gifted students and our advanced learners is vocabulary and themes and ideas, along with conversations about books. So there's a good chance that you'll land in one of those areas for their individual goal. With nonfiction, I will say my experience as a classroom teacher, I had many gifted students that could not state the main idea of a nonfiction text. Some of my average and even below grade level students were better at that than some of my gifted students for whatever reasons. So you might make sure you go through that hierarchy as well. Okay, so again, the point is use this as a guide in your questioning. These are the things that you're looking for. These are the things that you're asking questions about in that research conference in your launch unit. Okay, let's go back to here. So number 2, also know the student's Lexile. NWEA will tell you that, but know that Lexile is not everything. A student may have a book that's on their Lexile, but if they don't have interest in that book, they're not going to, number one, be able to make their way through the book in a timely manner, nor are they going to have the motivation to apply comprehension skills to that text. So know the Lexile, know their interest, know if they're motivated to read, and be ready to address those areas. With Lexile, it's important that they do, for all readers, that they have the opportunity to read books that are good fit books, so not too easy, not too hard, but also to, at times, push them into texts that have a higher text complexity. Now, with that said, that doesn't mean you have to force them to read something that they don't want to read. That's not going to be productive either. So, push them into a complex text on a topic that they're interested in, and then you're going to see that motivation increase. Okay, last, balance curriculum and individual goals. It's important that as you make your way through the curriculum, you probably know that our curriculum is based on our priority standards, and that's like our promise to the community of these are the standards that all kids are going to master. So it's likely that your advanced and gifted kiddos will be able to already have those mastered or master them quite quickly. That's why we have to have a balance within the workshop model of the curriculum, the priority standards, and individual goals. If you're working on a unit that has a focus of inferring, and your students can infer, then don't give them an individual goal of inferring. Give them a goal that's appropriate for their abilities. I would definitely recommend getting your hands on these texts. I think most of you have them, the Reading Strategies book and the Writing Strategies book. If you don't know what direction to take kids, any kids, whether it be below, on, or above grade level kids, these books will give you it's like a Bible of strategies, of reading and writing strategies that you can use for kids. It is so incredibly helpful. Okay, so those are 3 things that you can do to meet the needs of your advanced learners. If I can do anything to assist you, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Obviously, Kim is a go-to resource for ideas in meeting the needs of advanced learners. I'm also happy to help out in any way. All right, thanks guys.